Tappei has just released Arc 7 Chapter 43, and this video will summarize what happens. I highly recommend you check out my Arc 7 Chapter 42 summary. Anyways, let's begin. The chapter begins with the cast puzzled at what was stated. After all, considering they were trying to negotiate with Obart over their condition, a game of chase would be pretty weird. Subaru expresses his concern about chase, about the concern of fighting for your life. However, Obart brushes that aside, stating that if Shinobi did anything dangerous whilst playing a children's game, they would be extinct. However, deep down Subaru doesn't really trust Obart, since Obart will say anything to get at his ambitions. Subaru wouldn't even be shocked if all of the shinobi were in fact dead. Abel presses forward with the rules of the game. After all, a part of the condition is that regardless if Obart wins or loses the game, he will get the information he wants, which is how to get past the protection of the Yang Sword. Obart explains it very simply. He will run away and Subaru's group will catch him. Medium does seem optimistic, however Tarita is concerned. The sum total of their team members might be able to catch Obart, but it came down to skill. However, a concern was their current condition. It would be hard to play chase when half of Subaru's group were in kid forms. However, Obart more focuses on the fact that Tarita is still holding the bow and arrow to his head. Obart understands the situation and suggests instead of chase is actually a game of hide and seek. However, Obart will hide 3 times. Subaru and his group will then have to find him 3 times. Obart says the name of the game is Find. However, the name Find doesn't sound good, to which Subaru says they should just call it Hide and Seek, and Obart actually likes the name and he agrees. Obart lays out the conditions. If they play chase, they have to catch him once and they win. If they play hide and seek, they'll win if they find him 3 times. However, Obart stipulates that Subaru and the rest will know which game will be easier for them to win at. Al, however, is concerned, asking if there's more to the situation than that. Why would Obart comment on which game would be easier for Subaru's group to win or lose in? However, Obart says he's just an old man, so he wouldn't go all out to win. In fact, he would prefer if Subaru's group did win. Abel jumps in and states that the next step is to clarify their position. Obart is confused, however Abel states that since they're going to play a game, both sides need to agree on the conditions. With that, the decision is to play hide and seek. As the scene changes, we see that 3 conditions were made. Firstly, the promise to not harm each other. Secondly, the hiding place can only be in the city of Chaos Flame. Thirdly, was the victory conditions, which was to find Obart 3 times. Essentially, 3 times was chosen so it wouldn't be a fluke and instead be a show of strength and skill. However, Obart added in that 3 of them were shrunk into kid form, so finding him 3 times would be equal. Abel suggests that he should undo their kid form every time they find him 1 at a time. However, Obart just waves his hand. With that, the game was nearly underway, and Subaru interjected, saying that Obart can't hide in a place they couldn't physically get to, and Obart states that he wouldn't have done that anyway, because he wants Subaru and his group to win. With that, Obart sets off. However, there was a clue to be given to Subaru's group every time Obart went to hide. The first clue was behind the eyelids. With that, Obart left it in. Abel told Tarita to put down the bow now that Obart left it in. Deep down, Tarita felt shame. She came to the city of Chaos Flame in order to gain confidence as the new Shidrakian chief, but so far Olbart didn't even show any fear or hesitation when she had a bow aimed at his head, so she was actually losing confidence. Ao asks if Subaru really is going to play hide and seek. Ao seemed frustrated, however Subaru says that it could actually resolve their issue. We also see Medium holding back Lewis, using a technique to hold her back and pin her, something that she may have learned back at the orphanage. Ao states they should have just surrounded Olbart, however Subaru states they would have died. Ao says that Subaru stated that like he's seen it before. However, Ao turns away and say that's impossible. Of course, Subaru deep down did see Olbart kill everyone, hence why he held that conviction. Subaru states they have a little over 2 hours before the meeting with Yona, and he needs 30 minutes to do his makeup. Furthermore, Subaru asked Abel if he was shocked that Olbart wanted his head. However, it's something that Abel doesn't really understand, seeking fame after death. This is something Subaru can relate with. Subaru wants everyone that knows him to forget about him when he dies, so that way they don't have to grieve or suffer. However, he wouldn't share this with Abel. Abel explains that his demon mask that he's wearing distorts the perception of those who look at him. Tarita states that that should be a Shidrakian item, and Abel states that when the Shidrak and the Valakian Emperor formed an alliance, the Emperor would use the mask. With that, Subaru was shocked, and Abel asked why Subaru thought he was wearing the mask in the first place. With the silence Subaru displayed, Abel came to the conclusion that Subaru's stupidity reached its peak. With that, it did make sense why Olbart didn't realize who Abel was. With the discussion over, the group begin their search, first speculating whether or not Olbart would actually move around, avoiding them when they got close. However, Abel debunked it, stating that Olbart is truly testing them to see if they can make their claim true, which is to overthrow and claim the throne of Wallachia. Subaru asked about the Yang sword, however Vincent refused to elaborate. Subaru clicked his tongue, but realized so far he's never seen Abel actually get killed, so maybe he did have a protection around him. Of course there were times you could speculate he would have died, such as when Olbart killed everyone, or when Todd burned down the Budheim jungle. However, Subaru couldn't really confirm it, so Subaru asked Vincent if the flame of the Yang sword is protecting him. Abel asks if Subaru would turn against him if he answers. Subaru, however, says there isn't an advantage in doing that. With that, Subaru left the topic alone and left the inn with the group. However, immediately after leaving the inn, Subaru turned back around and opened the inn door back to their room, stating that he found Olbart. With that, we see Olbart was in fact present in the inn, arriving after Subaru and the rest left the inn. Olbart was sitting down, making himself tea when Subaru arrived. Deep down, Subaru knew the answer. All the way back when he first arrived at Roswell's mansion, Beatrice made it so that he traversed a looping corridor, and the correct answer was the door he came out from. Subaru states he'll play with Beatrice when he next sees her. With that, Olbart concedes that it's 1 point for Subaru's group. Olbart then gives the next hint: the abyss with a great view. With that, Olbart jumped out the window. Subaru, seeing his speed, knew that playing hide and seek was the correct option. With that, the group discussed what it could mean. It cannot be a high point, since an abyss would suggest something like a cave or a hole. Subaru asks Abel what he thinks, and he suggests an area where people would come and go. They should explore the city first, however, namely a bar, so they can enact Abel's plan. However, Subaru suggested they split up, a group to look for Obart and a group to go to the bar. But as he said that, a red flash went across his vision, and with that, the scene changes. As Subaru blinks and gathers his thoughts, he hears someone say, "That's a good name." Subaru said, "What?" He was confused. The person in front of him was Obart laughing at Subaru. With that, Subaru really couldn't comprehend what was happening, but stated that he found Obart. However, Obart said they haven't even started the game. Subaru couldn't comprehend what was going on. He looked around. He was in the inn, the room he just left. Subaru returned by death, even when the rules stated that he should not be harmed. And with that, the chapter ends. Wow, what a chapter. I actually really like that chapter. I like the throwback all the way back to Arc 2 with checking the first location. I actually was reading the chapter and I thought the same thing. I was actually thinking that the final hiding spot will be with Yona. So when they go to the castle, I feel like Obart will be hiding like in the meeting room. So I think that will be the final spot, by the way. But yeah, Subaru died and it was by a red light. So I'm not sure what that's supposed to insinuate. Is it Vincent that killed him because he's associated with red? Or was it Obart? Or maybe it's a third person. Like, I'm not sure. But Subaru asking about the Yang Sword's protection. Maybe Vincent killed him because of that. I'm not sure. Honestly, I have no clue what's going on. Maybe Obart was actually eavesdropping on their conversation, so he realized that Abel was actually the person in a demon mask when Abel was explaining that the demon mask distorts his perception. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not really sure what killed him. It might even be Kahuma, the other guy that uses plants and thorns. But it was an interesting chapter. I'm really confused. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.